Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edi vedasyama ani stha shrutam me ma prahasihi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Pradidhitih, Pradidhitih Vishwavara Jigati Hotaram Ilach Prathamam Yajadhyai Achanamo Bhih Vrishabham Vandadhyai Sa Devan Yakshat Ishito Yajiyam. The thought in which are all desirable things comes to this first and supreme priest of the call to offer our aspirations as a sacrifice towards the mighty one, to adore him with our prostrations. Missioned, strong to sacrifice, may he do worship to the gods. Forward moves the brightness of a higher thought. Didhiti is this brightness of the higher thought, bestowing all the gifts, Vishwavara, having all the gifts, to the flame as the first summoner, Hotaram, Prathamam, to sacrifice all our aspirations. Yajadhyai Ilach. Ilach is these impulses or aspirations, our true impulses and aspirations, Yajadhyai, to sacrifice. The Didhiti, the shining thought, or focus or concentration of our higher mentality, which bestows all the gifts unto us. So concentration is that luminous concentration. In the later language, it is dhyana, the state of dhyana, yes, in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, where the concentration is effortless and spontaneous. So that power of the mind, of the higher mind, to focus consciousness on any object of sense is bestowing all the gifts, all the knowledge is given to us through this power. And it comes to the Hotar, to the summoner of all the gods, to the first Hotar, to Agni, offering to him all our aspirations. It's so powerful. So when we focus our higher mind on some higher, aim of life, with that focus, all of our aspirations are offered to the first Hotar. Achanamo bhih vrishabham vandadhyai. And straight, acha is actually a Vedic word, which is left in Hindi. Acha is everywhere, acha. But acha means straight. And that straight is the same meaning in Hindi, actually. Acha means, yes, straight, correct. Perfect, yeah. Achana Mobhi, with our namas, with our obeisance, with our surrenderings, in many surrenderings, not one. Vrishabham, Vandadhyay, to Vandaye Mataram, to adore, to greet with adoration the Lord, Vrishabham. Sadevan Yakshat, he should sacrifice the gods here. Ishitach, Yajian, he who is greater by the sacrifice, who is the greatest in the sacrifice. Ishitach, sought or wanted by many, or by all rather, should sacrifice here the gods. Should bring into action the higher powers of consciousness. Sacrifice, I translate differently, should bring into action, actualize the higher powers of consciousness in the lower hemisphere. Urdhvovam gatu hadvare akari, urdhva shochinshi prasthita rajansi. Divovanabha niyasadi, no. Divova nabha niyasadi hota, no. Niyasadi hota, to keep the meter. Hotava nabha niyasadi hota. Stranimahe devavyacha vibarhich. In the pilgrim sacrifice, a high path for you both has been made, which departs to the high lustres, the mid-worlds. The priest of the call has taken his seat in the navel center of heaven. We spread wide the sacred grass, a space of wideness of the gods. Urdhvah is high. High is the path for you both, Vam Gatuch Advare, in this pilgrim sacrifice. Were these both? Most probably we will see them later. These are night and dawn, dawn and night. High is the path for you both, or the high and lower hemisphere as day and night. Or two hotars, we will see them, this duality will continue. High is the path for you both, made at pilgrim sacrifice, spread over or heading towards the luminous realms, prasthitani, shochinshi, rajansi, urdhva. Yeah? So high, the luminous flames are departing to the luminous realms, Rajansi. Rajansi are usually associated with three vital planes. So into the three vital planes, these luminous flames are departing high. Divovanabha. And indeed, in the navel of heaven, Ni Asadi, this is aorist, Ni Asadi Hotar, the Hotar, the invoker of the gods, is seated deeply within the navel of heaven, literally. Stranimahe Deva Vyachavi Barhich, and we spread the Barhis, the Kusha grass, or the sacred grass for the gods, for expansion, to create that space for the gods to take place in the sacrifice. So I'm here doing my interpretation, high is the path for you both made at pilgrim sacrifice spread over, or heading towards the luminous realms. The summoner of the gods was seated in the navel of heaven. We extended out in a space in all directions as the spreading of sacrificial grass by widening, opening, preparing the place for the divine. Deva Vyacha, interesting word. Vyach is to extend, Deva Vyacha, by extending the divine presence. Vi Barhich, vaste, Barhich is from root brich, also to extend. These are words of extension, three of them. And Strenima also, spread. We spread by extension of the divine presence wider and wider, the spreading or the opening within us. Now, the symbol of Barhis we spoke about before. Barhis is the sacrificial grass which is laid around the flame, the sacrificial fire in the rituals. And on that sacrificial grass, the gods are invited one by one, yes, name by name. So they take their place around the flame. In the psychological terms, it is most probably the vacating of the inner space, preparing that inner space for the coming of the divine. Yeah? Sri Aurobindo beautifully describes this process in the Hour of God, if you remember, that the flame is to be trimmed, the temple is to be kept clean. Yeah? We have to throw away things which are clogging, blocking the presence of the divine, those old things which are of no use for the divine purpose. So we have to prepare, vacate our inner space for the divine coming down and settling within us. If we are full of things, there is no place for the divine to come. We need to vacate the place. We have to throw things out. Makes sense. Huh? From here, the silencing the mind. From here, all these processes of yoga, which are so necessary. Calming, pacifying, and finally silencing, totally silencing the mind. Only then we are ready to receive the divine. Otherwise, the divine will not be heard. We are too noisy. There's so much noise within us. All that noise has to go. When people came to the mother, to meet the mother, she was asking this question that, what do you want, a question and answer session or the shower of silence? So she was creating for them the douche, the silence, douche of silence. So they were entering into her space and falling into this transcendental silence. They were forgetting all their questions and forgetting who they are, what they are there for. And then when they usually left the place, they remembered, oh, I wanted to ask this and that. And they usually never asked, because entering that dense space of the sacrifice, they were accepted as they were without any noise. Yes, that's what she was saying, silencing the noise. So the noise had to be silenced, so she could do it very easily without any words. Just sitting around near her was removing all the noise. And with that noise, all the questions which they wanted to ask, because that is simply a noise. Yeah? And no needed answers for those questions. Silence is the answer. So this Barhis has that idea of preparing the place for the higher powers, making the inner place sacred for them. Mm. Interestingly, this Brich root is not only to extend from here Brahman, actually, it's from here Brihas, Brihat. Brihat is the vastness. From here Brihaspati is the Lord of the vastness. But also bring, there is a kindred root, which means to pluck out, to pull out with roots. Yeah? So to take out and to vacate, really to prepare the space. So if we try to translate it psychologically, it would be that we spread this sacred emptiness in us, a clear space without any noise, silence in us for the extension of the divine presence. And then, Saptahotrani manasa vrinana invanto vishvam pratiyan ritena nripeshaso vidatheshu prajata abhimim abhi imam yajnam vicharanta purvih abhimam yajnam vicharanta purvih. Seven hotras, oh sorry, I will read first Sri Aurobindo, accepting with the mind the seven invocations, taking possession of all that is by the truth, that is by the truth. Sorry, taking possession of all that is by the truth. They went towards the goal, their goal. Many powers born in the finding of knowledge and wearing the forms of gods move abroad to this sacrifice. Well, there is, as we noticed, there is hardly any verse without the word sacrifice or meaning the sacrifice. Yes? It's all about the transformation. We spoke about this last time. Saptahotrani, what are these saptahotras? Seven invocations, he says. Why seven? Interestingly, that Brihaspati has seven flames, seven tongues. Tongues. Flames are of the flame of the fire are tongues speaking the word. Brihaspati is the Lord of the divine word, and he has seven rays or seven tongues. So seven hotras. Chosen, sorry, choosing. Seven hotras chosen by the mind, compelling all to move forward. Compelling all to move forward, seven hotras chosen by the mind. The mind has to join the party of the invocation. So Vak and Manas, these are two poles of the same action, two foundations of the Veda, compelling all to move forward with the help of the dynamic truth. The dynamic truth will give us the path, will show us the way. The powers of the heroic soul of man are born in the finding of knowledge. It's also very meaningful. May they spread in their many movements this sacrifice. Now I've made some notes here for us to kind of look into it, not to forget. The inner powers of the soul, nripeshas, interesting, or the decoration of the power of the soul, or representatives of the soul, or the garments of the soul power of the hero, are borne forward. So to say, the soul reaches to its periphery, born into the future realizations, forward, in search of knowledge, vidatreshu, or in the findings of knowledge, or in the movements of finding the truth. In this moment of finding the truth, the hero powers of the soul are activated and pushed forward. The very idea of the discovery of the truth suggests that there is an unfolding environment, evolving and developing, growing towards its highest fulfillment. And the forces of our heroic soul are born to embark on this journey. So this kind of attraction to find the truth is activating the power of the soul to move forward. And today morning I looked into it and I added this. In the finding of knowledge, the heroic powers of the soul are born. It is from the vastness and luminosity of Varuna and Mitra that the powers of Aryamana are born. In other words, Maheshwari is preceding Mahakali. Maheshwari is the purity of the divine existence and consciousness. And that purity is to be first. Varuna and Mitra have to be established first before Aryaman is activated. The power to move forward is activated. So in the findings of the knowledge, our heroic powers of the soul are born. In the vastness of Varuna, Mitra is born. We will come to it again in the next verse. So Mitra is flaming out from the pressure of the Varunas, purity and vastness. And Maheshwari is preceding Mahakali. Mahakali is based on the vastness of Maheshwari. And then Abhandamane Ushasa Upake Uta Smayete Tanua Virupe Yathano Mitrao Varuno Jujoshat Indro Marutvan Upava Mahobhich. May night and dawn differently formed in their body be joined close and smile upon us in their gladness, so that Mitra may take pleasure in us and Varuna, or with his greatness Indra too, with the life gods, Maruts. There is a footnote, or may they so shine with their lights that Mitra may take pleasure in us and Varuna and Indra with the life gods. Now Ushasa, you see, this is the Vedic dual. It should be Ushasau, but the Au is simply I. You will see it often, this Vedic dual. So two Ushas. Two Ushas, interesting. Ushas is from root vas, to shine. Two shining twin sisters. So these are considered to be those, twilights. So Ushas is a twilight from night to day. And there is another Ushas, so to say, from day to night. These are two twilights, and they are called luminous ones. We translate them as night and day, or night and dawn, because one is leading to the day, other is leading to the dawn, to the night, sorry. So dawn and night both are connected, upake, and should be welcomed, bandhamane, or simply welcomed, smiling to us, smayete. You recognize smayete, atmane padam. Labhate labhete, both are smiling. Though different in form of their bodies, tanua, by the body, virupe, of different form. I also add extensions, not only in their bodies, but in their extensions, in their continuation, they are different. They may be the same or similar at the beginning, because these are twilights, but the continuation and extension is different. As Mitra and Varuna should rejoice in us, so Indra also, by his greatness with the Maruts, should rejoice. Here is something very interesting. This kind of association of dawn and night with Mitra and Varuna is constant in the Veda. Later in the post-Vedic literature, Varuna is associated with the night, with the ocean, with the darkness, as you know, yes? He becomes the lord of the ocean. And Mitra is more the luminous god. Yeah? This association with dawn and night, with these twilights, are kind of very intuitive. And also Indra and Maruts, in the same manner. Indra is born beyond, from the higher hemisphere, and Maruts are from the lower hemisphere. It's the same kind of association with light and darkness. I even put here my passage, which may kind of, to a certain extent, explain these two. I even quote here this verse, the same as... So Vishwamitra compares the smiling dawn and night to the rejoicing of Mitra and Varuna, and in their greatness to Indra and Maruts. It is an interesting comparison, shedding light on the nature of the two sisters. Varuna in the Veda is always compared to night, for he holds everything within his primary waters. Mitra is always compared to the light, which is kindled from within the waters. Compare that Agni's place of birth is in the waters. You know? Agni is born from the primary waters, from the primary ocean. The origin of Varuna is water, equals night in this case. And the origin of Mitra is light. This is similar to Indra and Maruts, where Maruts represent Indra in the lower hemisphere. All the gods are of the nature of Agni. There is a verse of the Rig Veda in which Mitra and Varuna and Indra and Maruts are described from this point of view. We read this, you remember, in the second mandala. Tvam Agni no, this is not from the second, sorry. It is from another mandala. I think it's from the fifth. Yes, from the fifth, third verse. Tvam Agni Varuno Jaya Seyat, Tvam Mitro Bhavasiyat Samidhach. Tuvam Agne Varuno Jaya Seyat, Tuvam Mitro Bhavasiyat Samidhach. Tuve Vishve Sahasas Putra Devach, Tuvam Indro Dashushe Martiyaya. Tava Shriye Maruta Marjayanta Rudrayat Te Janima Charu Chitram. Now I'm translating here. Thou, O Varuna, thou, O Agni, art Varuna when thou art born. Thou becomest Mitra when thou art perfectly kindled. This is an interesting distinction. When Agni is born, he is Varuna in the process of birth, or pressure, cooking pressure, pressure cooker. From this pressure, he is Varuna when he is being contracted, pressed upon, when the heat is being generated, the purity is being manifested in the flame. So he is Varuna, but when he is flamed totally, kindled perfectly, he is Mitra. In thee Ah, all the gods, O son of force, thou art Indra to the mortal who gives the sacrifice. For the glory of thee, O Rudra, the Maruts brighten by their pressure that which is the brilliant and varied birth of thee. So you could see this kind of interesting dynamism of these godheads, which are related to this idea of two mothers of Agni, yes, of light and darkness, of constant breathing in and breathing out, yes, rising up and diving deep. With this dynamic process, the whole sacrifice is taking place. This dynamism is needed to generate time and space. Similarly to Varuna, night signifies the consciousness of the lower hemisphere, where the light is contained or concealed or suppressed, and is thus in a process of birth or becoming. The dawn represents higher consciousness, where the light is free. By these two processes of contracting and releasing the light in the individual, the God child is created, born. You know? The night gives him a separate existence in birth, and the dawn gives him a oneness with the divine consciousness. And that, so that he can grow and become immortal in the separate existence. You remember that Sri Aurobindo ends Savitri with this, and the night was pregnant with, in her bosom, nurtured a great dawn. This is nurturing dawn in the bosom of the night, is exactly the idea. When we come to the Indra and Maruts, we will learn more about these and their relations, and Mitra and Varuna hymns also. It's just, this hymn is Apri Sukta. It touches upon all the gods in a particular fashion. Now we come to two heavenly hotars. Daivya hotara prathama nirinje saptaprikshasa svadhaya madanti ritam shamsanta ritam itta ahu anuvratam pratapa didhyana. I crown the two supreme priests of the invocation. The seven pleasures take their rapture by the self-law of their nature. The truth they express, the truth only they speak, guardians of the law of its action according to that law they shine. Now, who are these two hotars? We do not know. Well, we guess that this is the sun and Agni. Sun is the quintessential of heaven, and Agni is the quintessential of earth. The two divine, so to say, beings. One is uninvolved divinity, and the other is involved. And so these two hotars, they call to each other. Why Agni is rising? Because there is another hotar in heaven who calls him. Why sun is descending? Because there is the hotar within the matter which calls him. And these two invokers, they are divine hotars. There is the whole hymn in the 10th mandala, which we will look into, about two foundations of the divine, which are exactly about these two hotars. There we will see this sun, which is of double nature. This sun of double nature, one is uninvolved, another is involved. In our view of the embodied beings, these are two different kind of things. But in the transcendental view, it's one and the same divine being. And within the being, this divine sun, as it were, there is a gap, which is this universe was created. So when we look from the divine point of view, we are within the sun. That's why the sun is above and the sun is below, and the sun also is within. So the sun is everywhere, yes? Only within this kind of bubble in which we are. By the way, Sri Krishna describes this very beautifully, which is confusing everyone in chapter 9, I think, of Secret Knowledge. There he says about himself, which is really confusing, exactly this. Maya tatam idam sarvam. By me all this is manifested or spread. Jagat vyakta. Jagat avyakta murtina. Avyakta murtina, not embodied in the form, yes? Of the Matsthani sarva bhutani. All the beings are staying in me. Nachaham teshu avasthitach. I'm not staying in them. How come? All the beings are staying in him and he is not staying in them. And then he adds, Nachamatstani bhutani, not even in me they are staying. Pashyame yogam aishwaram, look at my brilliant divine yoga. Bhuta bharit, the supporter of all the beings, becomings. Nacha bhutasthach, but not the one who stays in them. Mamatma, my atma, bhuta bhavanach, the supporter of all the becomings. So he self is doing the work, not him, because he is, Krishna, is Purushottama. He is transcendental to the transcendental. So we are in the bubble of the sun, which is transcendental, but the Supreme is even transcendental to this sun. That's what he wants to say. This is a discovery. Once it is made, everything falls into the right place. The whole hierarchy of understanding of all the Vedas, Gita, Upanishads, Tantra, everything becomes kind of aligned with the truth. The Supreme alone, free from existence and non-existence. His representative, Atman, his self, it is with that which supports the being, but it is not within this bubble. This bubble is kind of supported from all the sides. It's not the Krishna himself. It's not the Lord himself who is there. That's what he wants to say. And it's very difficult to understand unless we see it in this way of two hotars. Yeah? And two hotars, one is above, another is below. And in other words, below is Rudra and Agni is his son, and above is Vishnu and Indra is his action, and Indra and Agni come together into this bubble to join, and that is the sacrifice. They bring the divine properties into activization within this bubble. They manifest the divine in space and time in this bubble. This is the whole magic of our manifestation. Yes, Kinshuk.
Why are you referring to it as the bubble?
Well, what else? What other word? Okay, choose another word. I don't mind any word. I just want to give us the sense that we are within the divine.
No, I just wanted to know why this imagery of the bubble.
No, it's not that bubble which will pop. It is the bubble which stays. Bubble means empty space, space which is created for spelling out all the infinite qualities of the divine. How would you spell them out? How will you do it otherwise? That all the faculties, qualities, and properties will be, how to say, manifested, visible by themselves, to themselves. How else would you do if the density of the light of consciousness is uninterrupted? So you need interruption somewhere, yes? You need to take them kind of separately, deal with them separately. So the divine creates within himself this kind of night, the divine night, yeah? The denial of his light. And that generates the whole shades of light. From the darkness to light, we have all the shades. It generates the space and thus the time. How could we
Two,
describe this
two,
if not in
two,
symbols?
two different grammars.
Hmm?
I said two different grammars, one which applies here, which also expresses the same thing, and other which applies there, also expressing the same.
Right. That which is above, the same as here, that below. They are reflected, yes. This is the most difficult thing to describe and to speak of, that we are within the divine. And that Krishna says here in the Gita, and truly speaking, it's very difficult to understand unless we see that there is the divine in the darkest night, involved. So when we go down to the deepest night, to the bottom of things, where nothing is manifested, breaking through it, we will arrive at the divine light flaming. And that is the secret of the Veda. The secret of the Veda, that the light is not only above, but also below. This is the secret. We think in terms of darkness below, light above. We don't think that light is everywhere, even below. Sri Aurobindo describes his own experience when he was digging into that infinite rock. Yeah? And infinite rock, Adri, is the vision of the Veda at the bottom of things, where the density is the deepest. Mother describes that avatar. You remember she described sleeping avatar. That is this beautiful picture. And when she came to the bottom, there was this being sleeping forever, never opening his eyes yet. And she touched that being with her presence, and he opened for the first time, she says, his eyes. This is the supramental manifestation. Supermind is involved, not only uninvolved from above, but also involved within. We are speaking the language which is going beyond time and space, and that because of that, it is confusing, because we are creatures of time and space. Yeah? We are creatures of above and below, of darkness and light, of this duality of thinking. Mind is dual. But this mystery of the divine manifestation, duality is the means, nothing else. And here we have this duality. Yes.
Vladimir, which chapter in the Gita did you read from?
From 9, chapter 9. You
Thank
can
you.
look from the beginning. It is 9 and 4. 4, 5.
Thank you.
Vladimir, why does he say that we are in the divine, but he is not in us? What does that mean? I thought he is in us. But he's saying he is not in us, but we are in the divine.
And then he says, it's not even like that.
Yeah, that's very
And then
confusing.
because it's difficult to explain to the consciousness which operates by this yes or no. It's not even like that. Nacha matstani bhuntani. It's not even that they stay in me. Look at my yoga Aishvaram. Bhuta bhrina chabutosto mama atma. My atma is supporting all the becomings. And not staying there.
How can the Atma support and not be there?
Right. If you look at you remember Matthias' presentation of the levels of consciousness. Let me find maybe it since we are already here.
Maybe because he's Purushottama.
Oh, Purushottama, yes, definitely, absolutely. He is transcendental to the transcendental. Oh, here it is. Let me project this and maybe this will do some trick. You see it? Yeah, this is the Matthias thing. I edit only this line here. So we have this, this all is becoming, yeah? The world in which we live. We have our mind, outer physical, outer ego here is operating. But there is the subliminal level, yeah? This is all Prakriti. We are within Prakriti. We have also universal mind, inner vital, inner physical, and even subconscious. These are subliminal levels of Prakriti. This is the surface, this is subliminal. Subliminal includes partially Prakriti, universal Prakriti, with Purusha selves. So Purusha Atman, in this case, mental Atman, vital Atman, or Purusha, or physical Atman, is the divine presence which supports this becoming. It's like a framework which holds the whole processes which Prakriti will unfold. One can say that they are within it, but they are not within it in a pure way. Yeah? Not yet, most probably, let us say that way. And behind there is psychic, and there is the Atman, these two, yes, this duality, Dvipad. So the uninvolved and involved. Atman is uninvolved, interestingly. And psychic is the spark or the delegate of Atman uninvolved into these myths. And from the psychic, we come to the individual ego, so to say, because this spark gives us a freedom of choice on the surface. This is a very good scheme. It's easy to reconcile many things.
And that bold line signifies that
I edited.
some kind of a mind is prevalent throughout.
No, this
mind.
mental self, vital self, these are selves or Atmans, yes? Annamayam Atma, Pranamayam Atma, Manomayam Atma, these are Atmas.
So the transcendent, where is he in this? Or he's not in this?
Here.
He is the Atman.
Yes.
And the transcendental to the transcendent?
Oh, here it's not. There is no transcendental to the transcendental. There is
the Paramatma.
The Purushottama.
Purushottama is here. If you look at this, yeah, you will see supermind, Ananda, Chit, Sat, Asat, and then beyond Asat and Sat, there is the Supreme Mother, makes the Supreme Person, she calls him.
So that is the transcendental to the transcendent.
Yes, transcendence is very interesting. We have several transcendences. Look at this. Our lower hemisphere is ending here with blue color. illumined mind, yes? So we have three minds: proper mind, higher mind, and illumined mind, according to Sri Aurobindo. Then there is this transition which we call overmind, yeah? And color changes immediately. You can see the line into yellow is intuitive mind. Nothing in common with blue. There is no transition. And then beyond there is overmind, many-colored, Mother describes it. Actually, it's quite interesting. It's called prikshasach. We will come to this prikshasach in this verse. The mixture of the transcendental with this world. That's exactly what overmind is. There is one more level there, which Mother doesn't mention, is the supramental overmind. That means the highest overmind closest to the supermind. Yeah? She doesn't highlight it because it's what's the point? And then there is the supermind, triple supermind, golden color, which connects the transcendental Sat Chit Ananda with this lower, mind, vital, and physical. So this is the connector. So we have one transcendence is over mind. It's already transcendence. Supermind is another transcendence. Then the Satchitananda, another transcendence, three transcendentals, and the Supreme is transcendental to all these transcendences.
We'll never reach there, Vladimir.
We don't need to reach there. We are that. We are Him in all of this unfolding. He made Himself, to say, He wants to know Himself in unity, in all these varieties of relations and qualities. We are Him. There's nobody here but Him. It is Him in all these forms which He decided to be.
So he's just supporting everything.
Right. Even not He supports Him. They saw, as He says, Krishna. But His self, He is not even supporting it, so to say. He's not even supporting. He is unmanifest, and He is Asat and Sat together. Can we imagine that? That He is Asat and Sat together? He is
That's what I
being,
mean.
non-being.
We'll never understand that state of consciousness. I mean, we won't realize it. That's what I mean. It's too high for us. It's
Yeah,
so
well, for
confusing.
this mind, yes, for this. But the higher we rise, even in the illumined mind, we start understanding that opposite qualities are, truly speaking, complementary. Even in a higher mind, we feel that we are just trying to highlight the reality and nothing else. We are just trying to word it to make it available or understood by our superficial mind. Our surface mind has to understand non-dual reality there.
Vladimir, we have to discuss this even more.
Oh yeah, this is the only topic we have to discuss. But that's why we look into the text.
It's very interesting. We have to go deeper.
Oh yeah, we have to start realizing the non-dual nature of manifestation.
We have to know where we are coming from.
We are coming from here.
Oh my
We are
God.
all this. By the way, psychic being, if you think of it, because this is transcendental existence, consciousness, bliss, it's like levels upon levels. Without the individual, supreme individual, there would be no Atman here. There would be no self. There would be no Sat Purusha or Chaitanya Purusha or Anandamaya Purusha. Yes, there would be no self, because consciousness is two, it's like one thing is consciousness, another is to be conscious. So who is conscious? Who is unconscious? It is Him alone. In every creature, in every being, so in our psychic being is representative of this Supreme. Only through me you can come to my Father, it is for Selby. So only through psychic being we come to know the Supreme. That's what Krishna says, the same as Jesus. I am in the heart of every man. Now everyone can find me in their heart. Me, the Supreme. Psychic being would not be possible if the Supreme would not be there, if it would be only transcendental reality and this reality. There would be all kinds of forms of existence, but there would be no spark of the divine there. Why spark in all this formation? Yeah? Because there is someone there who, as Krishna says about himself, I am Adhyajna. He speaks about Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva, and Adhyatma. Adhyatma is exactly that Atma which holds the whole in oneness. But he is Adhyajna. He is not even Adhyatma. He is the one who is within the psychic being. I hope I don't confuse you even more. Individual is not possible without this supreme person. This is what I want to say. Absolutely impossible even to think. Individualization would not take place if the supreme person would not want to be many. Bahusyam, may there be many. What does it mean, really? It means only forms, many forms, like an illusion. I play with my own forms and that's it. No, I want to be many. He wanted to be many. That's why all this trouble, many call it trouble. All right. I have more for this, for the Prikshasach, but we will look into it. This is why these mixtures. As Shubindra translates, pleasures take rapture by self-law of their nature. This is an amazing thing. And why seven? You know, the seven hotras. We will have to look into this. I put it into the wrong. I had to put it here, into the mixtures. Where is seven hotras? There are no seven. Okay, I have to go to find a place for this because I was thinking today morning how to present to you these very interesting things of, seven mixtures, sapta prikshasa. Here it is, it's right. So what are these seven admixtures? Why they are seven? And they are rejoicing in themselves. 7 times 7, Shubindra speaks about these, and we will have to look 7 times 7 in the lower hemisphere, 7 times 7 in the higher. And that creates 49, 49, and 1, 50, 50, 100. 100 is a number for the infinity, yes, for all possible forms of manifestation. Or we can say, oh, I'm not projecting. We can say that all these colors are 7 times 7 plus 2 on the top 1 and on the bottom 1, which creates 100. Let me project this, what I was showing here. These 7, Varuna, Mitra, Yaman, Bhaga, Dakshamsh, and Surya, 7 Aditya sons, Adityas, and their projection into the lower hemisphere of DT. So this is something very interesting. If we take these 7 admixtures as material form, in the matter, in the material form, are all the 7 adityas, or all the 7 levels of consciousness, let us say, Sat, Chit, Ananda, Vijnana, Manas, Prana, and Anandam. There are 7 here, 7 here. In Prana, there are all of them. In Manas, there are all of them. So on each of level, there are 7 manifestations. It's not even though that way. It's even more complex in this way. So next time we will look into it, how these Sapta Prikshasach Svadhaya Madanti are rejoicing by themselves, by their own nature. because the transcendental Atman is somehow implied in the lowest manifestation of matter. And the lowest manifestation of matter is somehow implied in the highest existence of Sat. This is something which is which only Sri Aurobindo addresses. We are breaking the boundaries of our thinking. Okay, I'll stop here. I'm already over time so much. Sorry. Carried away again.
That is why sometimes in our life we have to run away and become an ascetic, to just go deep into this and realize this and then maybe come back.
Static. Right. Yeah. Don't know about ascetic. Ascetic is also a part of denial of the lower hemisphere for the sake of realizing the higher. But then you have to come back. You cannot realize the higher and leave the lower because it's no solution. Yeah. That means you come back to that place where you started your journey from. So you don't fulfill the mission of the Lord, Bahusyam, may I be many. So what you do, you reject. Escape brings not, yeah, the victory and the crown. There is
Oh,
no
you get
way.
the knowledge.
Hmm?
You get the knowledge and you come back and you
Yes,
then involve
absolutely.
yourself in this world with that. Maybe.
Absolutely. Ramakrishna speaks about two types of souls, yes, Ishvara Koti and Jivan Koti. So Ishvara Koti are those who, when they realize freedom, realize transcendence, they come back to manifest the divine. Kurvanneveha karmani, yes? The one who does here works and stays the full circle of life with the consciousness free as the Lord is free. Only he is building the world which has no karmic consequences, where karma does not stick to man. That means he generates the divine presence here and transforms nature. Everything which creates karmic consequences is somehow what in the loop of nature. But, and this is the idea also of sanskaras in the Buddhism, the same taken from Hinduism. Yes? To break through sanskaras, you have to break that vicious circle of consequences of karma. And to break it, you have to have freedom of the Lord, Ishravasyam idam sarvam, all this for habitation by the Lord. Therefore, you live here, enjoy the world with the freedom of the Lord. And don't grab anything here because it's already yours. And thus doing here works and not otherwise, karma does not stick to it. So with the consciousness free to do here constantly the divine work without attaching oneself to the karmic consequences, that means introducing divine constantly into the action in nature. This is the way to go. This is the sacrifice. These are two first verses of the Isha. The whole Veda is about this, yeah? How to bring the divine presence into action and not to generate karmic consequences. And this is the only freedom we can gain. There is no other freedom. Even Sri Aurobindo was asked, most probably I repeat myself, whether those who got mukti, whether they are free forever. He said, I doubt it. It is interesting, yes, because there is such a promotion of mukti, drop everything and disappear in Brahman. And Sri Aurobindo doubts it, that you disappear in Brahman. Because there was an intention of the divine to manifest himself, to be many. So being dissolved there they will be sent again to do the work. Because they agreed as souls, as sparks of the Supreme. They are representatives of that Supreme Person. So how can they avoid it? How they can go against it? There's no way. You remember how beautiful it is in Savitri, when Savitri rebels against her task and cries to heaven, raising hands to heaven. Why should I struggle here if Satyavan is taken from me to heaven? Why should I stay here and do the work? You remember that passage, so powerful, Sri Aurobindo. And then she hears the voice, the answer of the Supreme, of that very Supreme. And what will your soul do when it will approach the throne of the Supreme and report that your work was not fulfilled, was half done? Oh, and she feels so ashamed with her claim, claim of her righteous freedom. Before the work is done, there is no freedom. The freedom is only in the fulfilling of the sacrifice, transforming nature into the divine. This is the Veda, this is Sri Aurobindo. Yeah? And you can see how all the rest are fitting into it beautifully and not fully kind of expressing the fullness of it, only partially true. Okay, I guess we will stop here. Let me close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.